What is going on, team? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I know, a whole week has passed. Did you guys miss me? Another week, another episode of Avonlea talking about her favorite TV shows. Duh. And if I started with Glee, which is a comedy, I felt like I needed to go to a drama next. My favorite drama series of all time, the one and only, The Walking Dead. Let's talk about it. Let's rank it, and let's have a good time, shall we?
That we are The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead had 11 seasons. There's numerous spin-off series for this show as well. Now, of course, I will start this episode with saying this show was pretty gory, and just like the last episode, I do put a couple of clips and I do talk about some pretty heavy topics. So if you haven't seen the show and you have kind of a squeamish stomach, maybe this episode is not for you, my love. But if you want to just, you know, block that part out and hear my commentary, I welcome you here. This is the show that was really the catalyst for my love for horror anyway. So I don't know, maybe it'll do the same for you if you haven't seen the show already. Okay, enough blabbing. Let's get into it. We have a lot to unpack. So starting off at number 5, our group of survivors is dwindling. They have just escaped a massive attack by a huge horde of walkers in their original safe campsite. So this attack claimed the lives of Amy, Andrea's younger sister, which is really sad, and Carol's deadbeat wife-beater husband, which is less sad. And I actually cheered when the walkers killed him. If that's a crime, officer, take me to jail. I don't really care. We've lost a couple people, y'all. They thought, okay, if we get our ish together, let's go to the CDC real quick. Because I bet at the CDC, they've been working on something. They've been cooking something up. They pull up to the CDC and there's one guy in there. And his name is Dr. Jenner. And at first they're like, okay, this Dr. Jenner guy seems cool. Like, this is fine. And at the same time also, we're dealing with Rick and Shane having a little fight about who's in charge. Girls are fighting! Get a grip, gentlemen. And it should be neither of them. They're having a great time. They all get to shower because they've been, you know, camping. And shout out to Lori, because I know those UTIs went crazy.
You laughing, girl? You trying to laugh?
Sorry, gross. We were all thinking it, guys. There is, in my head, probably no scarier place to be in the world during an apocalypse than rural Georgia. Maybe Mall of America. Maybe the Guggenheim. Oh my god, the Grove in LA would be terrible. Slowly we find out that Dr. Jenner is a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. We find out he's locked them all in there. The whole CDC set to self-destruct in 30 minutes.
Self-destruct!
And Rick's like, whoa. They finally somehow convince Dr. Jenner to let them leave. He gives them like straight up maybe, what is it, like 2 minutes to run out of the entire CDC and get out of the blast zone of it self-destructing. What in the hell? Now, of course, I did pause it to give them more time. Mind you also, Carl, a child. Sophia, a child. We're trying to kill kids. So they all make a quick escape, minus Jackie, R.I.P. Jackie. Dr. Jenner whispers something into Rick's ear that we don't know what it is. So for the sake of this video, I'm not revealing it either. Whoa. Bet y'all weren't expecting that. Number 4, Rick and our group of survivors have now overtaken this community that was kind of set up at the early days of the outbreak, called Alexandria. Rick realizes that the people who are in charge of Alexandria actually have no idea what the outside world is like, really. When he hears about the Saviors, he's just thinking it's another group of like 20 people, right? Wrong! Alexandria tries to form an alliance with the Hilltop and tries to like best the Saviors and wildly underestimates Negan. And Negan has hundreds of people, leading to the death of many of my favorite characters, including but not limited to Abraham, Glenn, and eventually also Sasha. A little war has broken out now. And frankly, it's Rick's fault. Negan, not one of the biggest big bads for me. I know. Crazy. You guys are like, Avonlea, didn't you just say he killed a whole bunch of your favorite characters? Well, yeah. But there's another one that I'm going to talk about later that I think is objectively worse. My third favorite plot line, it's kind of overarching, I guess. Daryl and Carol becoming the best characters in the show. If we think about Daryl just by himself, Daryl and his brother Merle were just two redneck racist hicks that just showed up at this campsite. Carol started as a woman who was so beaten down. She really fortifies herself as one of the most powerful characters in the show. Most of them would have died in Terminus, which was a whole camp of cannibals, if she hadn't bazookaed it. Daryl went off on a whole investigation when Sophia first went missing, and he is consistently the most reliable male figure in the show for all of the women in the show, for all of the female survivors in the show, and for all of the children in the show. And also their friendship is so sweet. Them interacting with Woodbury, and by proxy, the governor. Now, I know earlier in this video I mentioned that I didn't think that Negan was the worst big bad introduced in the show, and I stand by that, because I think that the governor is the worst big bad of the show. This comes after they all had to escape the farmhouse. Andrea gets separated, and she ends up by herself in the woods. She does not think she's going to survive. This is when we are introduced to one of the most badass characters in the whole show, Michonne, who is a katana-wielding, walker-leading baddie. So she kind of takes Andrea under her wing, and eventually they somehow end up at Woodbury. Contrary to her entire character up until this point, Andrea immediately trusts the governor. But then again, she did also try to make a move on Shane when they were at the farm, when he was very obviously experiencing psychosis. Okay? So obviously she doesn't have good judgment with men. Michonne sees right through it. She's like, there's something off about this guy, and I'm gonna figure it out. Our bigger group of survivors has now found a prison. We lose T-Dog, and we also lose Lori. Carl has to put her down. When Rick finds out about this, ooh, he has a freak out, you guys.
Oh, no.
But then we kind of lose Rick as a leader for a bit. Him and Lori were not on good terms when she died. So now he's hallucinating her everywhere. And also he has this baby that he has to raise that he's not entirely sure is his.
You are not.
The governor truly is the biggest big bad, I think, in the entire show. Within his little house at Woodbury, he has a fish tank that Michonne discovers full of walker heads. And also his daughter, who has turned into a walker at this point, is being kept in a fortified steel cage and in a straitjacket. So every once in a while he can just go in there and hold her and stroke her hair. They destroy Woodbury. The governor disappears. They don't know where he goes. Somehow the governor acquires a tank, and like all of his people have guns, and they pull up to the prison. Rick has been trying to get more into his Rickisms and basically invites the governor and all of the people he's currently with into the prison. He's like, I'll give you guys your own cell block. You can have your own space. Now, mind you, also, the governor currently has Michonne and Herschel hostage. He basically gives Rick the metaphoric middle finger and chops off Herschel's head with Michonne's katana. In front of everyone, the prison is destroyed, and they have to leave. But the governor is dead. Rick takes that man out, I'll tell you that much. I like to talk about honorable mentions. In the very first season, when Rick first escapes from the hospital, he encounters two survivors, a man named Morgan and his son Dwayne. So the name Dwayne is actually in reference to the actor Dwayne Jones, who was in the movie The Night of the Living Dead. I think that's a really interesting nod to the history of the undead in American culture, because Night of the Living Dead really put zombie media on the map in the US. There's a really interesting video essay actually about Americans' views towards the undead and zombies and the history of zombies as well, I highly suggest you watch it. Especially if you like zombie media as much as I do. I think you'll really enjoy that video. So check it out, and I'm also going to link it in the description. And I'm sure you guys have heard about this, especially if you grew up in the South, especially in like Alabama or Georgia, and you know anybody who maybe was a background actor for The Walking Dead. Anybody who did background specifically as walkers has to go to zombie school. That is so freaking cool. Are you kidding? And they have to create their own walker, basically, their own walker identity. No two walkers are the same. They have similar markers for sure, but no two walkers are the same. No two walkers sound the same. I think that's really, really cool. And an honorable mention for my favorite walker. She's the very first walker that we see in the series, and that is Bicycle Girl. She's just a torso at that point. Shane's slow descent into madness. Anybody who knows me knows my love for Jon Bernthal truly knows no bounds. And my celebrity crush on him started in this show. He did try to go back to the hospital to like get Rick. Now, whether he gave up so soon because he didn't want to die or he gave up so soon because he secretly wanted Lori, who knows? I personally like to believe the former. That's my personal preference. You can believe what you want, okay? As far as she knows, her husband is dead. Her husband's cop partner has saved her and her son from most certain death. Yeah, I'd probably crack too. And especially with the way Jon Bernthal looked in season 1. Now, when Rick shows up, there's still a little bit of something going on between Lori and Shane. Okay, this is when I start to hear you guys go, Avonlea, that's wrong. And I agree. I don't agree with adultery, okay? I don't. But Shane obviously still has feelings for Lori. And Lori has feelings for Shane. That's clear. But her husband is back. And of course, he's been keeping all of these people safe this whole time. So when Rick shows up and all of a sudden wants to take charge, yeah, I'm sure that's gonna ruffle Shane's feathers. When the herd of walkers shows up and runs them out of their campsite, Shane blames Rick. When they're out looking for Sophia, it's because they ended up on a highway because Rick brought them there. And obviously a herd showed up on a major highway in Georgia in the middle of the apocalypse. Duh. And she ran into the woods and disappeared. Why were Shane, Rick, and Carl in the woods to begin with before Carl got shot? They were looking for Sophia. Yeah, obviously Shane is going to start blaming Rick. His original group of survivors have now joined the farm. Herschel basically is like, I don't have everything that I need here to save Carl's life, so I need you to go get it. Shane is thinking, gets all of this like medical equipment, he can get Lori to love him again. After when they were at the CDC, she basically told him she didn't want anything to do with him. Get out of the way, brother. And they acquire this equipment. Oh yes, they do. But Otis is a little slow, and Shane has now injured himself. So Shane decides to sacrifice Otis. When he returns to the farm, he shaves his head. When your favorite character becomes a skinhead, that's when you know things are amiss. And him and Rick keep getting into scuffles because Rick is incredibly morally good and Shane is very morally gray.
It's whenever you're put to the test. Stop acting like you know the way ahead, like you know the rules. There are no rules, man. We're lost.
No, man, I know.
Shane also learns that Herschel is keeping a barn full of walkers on this property.
What he said. What he said.
So Shane busts open the barn to show everybody, look, they're all walkers. And who walks out of the barn? But sweet, sweet little Sophia. This is when shit starts to hit the fan. So tons of gunfire. As we know in the show, what happens when there's a ton of gunfire? Shane starts to have a freak out, obviously, because Rick is not listening to him. Rick thinks that he has gone batshit crazy. Can't blame him. Can't say I disagree. Shane leads Rick into this field with the intent to kill him. Rick shoots Shane, but not in the head though. Carl is there, watching. This kid has seen too many people get put down in front of him. Poor kid. Shane comes back as a walker, and who puts him down other than Carl? This whole plot line had me glued to the TV. This is peak drama series writing. If you don't watch anything about this show past this season, I get it, but you have to at least get to this. It's amazing. And frankly, can I say something else? I don't think anybody but John Bernthal could have done it. So yeah, I know that video was a different vibe than Glee. There's a lot more, I think, to cover within the plot lines of The Walking Dead, just by nature of it being a drama. If we had some of the same favorites, let me know down in the comments. If you have different favorites, let me know down in the comments. I'll be back with another episode very soon. Who's to say what it'll be next? We don't know. Thank you guys for watching. Love y'all. Bye.